G'day guys, thanks for joining in. I've had a couple of requests for this one and I think it's about time that I got in and did it. Damper. Now, it's not something I do a great deal of these days since I've got pretty good at making breads. So I used to do dampers quite a lot, ages ago. So I'm just going to go back to my old recipe that I used to use. The only thing I'm tweaking with this one, I've been messing around with some wheat off the farm and been milling it up in the Thermomix and making my own flour. So I've made a bread with it and it actually turned out really good. And I figured, well, why don't I try making the damper with it as well? So I thought, perfect opportunity, I'll give it a go and we'll see what the outcome is. So what I like to do is keep it pretty straightforward. This goes back to the early settlers and the early Europeans that came over here. And back then it was basically flour, water and salt. And that was a staple they had. It's a bit different to what the indigenous people of Australia used to do, which was like a seeded dough, where they'd use it like a lot of native seeds and grains and pulverise that up and make that into a dough, which is actually quite nutritious as opposed to a bit of plain old wheat. So yeah, this is a traditional Australian damper, and we have the luxury of a lot of other ingredients, and you can go to town, you can do all sorts of things. You can use beer, or you can use soda water. You can even use lemonade if you want to make it a bit sweeter. You're starting to go into that scone area then. So what I'll do, I'm just going to keep it plain and simple. I'm using the flour that I've milled. I've got to add some baking powder to that, and I like to rub a bit of butter through it as well. That little bit of fat actually just helps to give it a little bit better texture. Salt, and I'll go half and half, milk and water. So first of all, what I'll do, I need to make this into more of a self-raising flour. So I'm going to go and put in 3 cups. Now this is a little bit of a grainier texture than what the normal flour would be. But as I say, in the bread that I made the other night, I tell you what, it was some of the nicest bread I've had. It was a really nice texture and turned out a treat. So to make self-raising flour, you just need to add some baking powder. So the standard old chestnut is 1.5 teaspoons per cup of plain flour. So I've added 3 cups there, so what's that work out to? 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 cups. 4.5 teaspoons. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and a half. So I'll give that a bit of mix together. Alright, so we need to add, I'm going to add a teaspoon of salt to this. Then about 50 grams of butter. Now, I think I mentioned in the last episode, you just sort of use the little increments on the side of your packaging there. Cold butter's ideal. This ain't ideal, but anyway, about 50 grams of butter. over there too. And the idea here is we just need to rub that into the dough. I'm pretty sure I said rub that into the dough, rub it into the flour. And you'll know you're done when there's no lumps of butter left in there. Alright, pretty good. Simple as that. So, from here what we need to do, I might just chuck the lid on that for now, just in case I knock the bastard over. Alright. So from here we just need to add, finally, this is half a cup of milk, half a cup of water. I'm just going to chuck that in. Now it's at this point you do not want to work your dough too much. You just want to bring it together. If you overwork it, you will end up with quite a stiff end product. And that goes for any of your, like your soda breads, scones, and the like. So you just want to incorporate it. And what you're looking for with this dough, you don't want to have it too dry. Some tend to have it, you know, like a hard lump of plasticine, and I prefer to actually have it quite soft. Once you've got it as close as you can incorporated with the knife, then of course just get in there with your hands and just gently bring it together. I reckon I might need a little bit more moisture there. Once again, because a lot of flours can be different. So obviously, because this is a milled grain straight out of the paddock, it might actually absorb a bit more of the moisture. So just add a bit more as you need to, just to bring it all together. And there we have it. So what I'll do, you can bung that straight on some coals, or you can put it straight in your camp oven. I just like using the pizza tray because it makes it easier to handle. So from there we just need to cut a couple of little slots in the top of it. I'll bung her in and we'll see how she goes. Alright, so what I've done here, I think I've shown it in other previous ones, but when you don't have a temperature gauge or whatnot, you've got a couple of options here. You can chuck a bit of flour in the bottom of your camp oven and allow that to cook off. And as long as it doesn't go black, hello mister, you'll be right to go. You're sort of looking for it to sort of brown off, sort of go that golden colour. Because I've got the trivet inside, I tend to just like using a bit of paper, a bit of newspaper, whatever will be fine. You stick that in there and you'll see how it's now turned off. I chucked it in a bit early and it burnt. Obviously it's too hot. As it is now, it's gone dark, but it's not burning anymore. So that's good to go. What I'll do is I'll chuck this in here, chuck my lid on, we'll give that, I reckon we'll give that about 25 minutes and then I'll check on it. In the meantime, old mate here will wait patiently for his piece as well, I reckon, won't you? See? Cool. Right. Now while I've got the damper in the oven there, I've got about 25 minutes to spare. Now, as I mentioned, I'm using my milled flour to make that one. Now, I'm a little bit dubious on how well it's going to turn out, just because it's quite a grainy texture. So what I'm going to do, I just went and grabbed myself some self-raising flour out of the house. Just, you know, basically El Cheapo self-raising flour. I'm going to knock up another one whilst I've got pretty much everything here anyway. So, 3 cups. Once again, self-raising flour. Teaspoon of salt. Don't know why I chucked in there because it never goes through properly. And I'll just sieve it through. Now you don't have to put it through the sieve. I just do it because I like using it. It does help to get out any little impurities might be in there. Even some of the coarser grains of salt which might be through there, so they can all be gone. Lovely. Right, that's all together there. Chuck your butter together. As I said, what, 50 grams roughly. Bung that in. And just rub that butter into your flour until all the lumps are gone. So what I will do is I'll play around with the flours a bit. I might even invest in a proper little flour mill. I've noticed online there's some you can get, a couple $100, and they use rollers which would work a lot better. Problem with Thermomix is you're using a blade that pulverizes it, absolutely, but it might even work better as a half and half mix with your flours. As I say, I made a proper loaf of bread the other night, and I'll tell you what, it came out a treat, it really did. Okay, so that's all together there nicely now. It's actually tank water in these. I just recycle the bottles. Okay. Chuck that in. Like I said before, you just want to incorporate. It took a bit longer to get the other one together. It just didn't want to hold as easy because it was a coarser grain. It had a tendency to fall apart. But if for anything, it'd be good to compare. Go in there. Like I can see there, I like to sort of push it around and bring it in underneath, and that helps to sort of stretch the surface and give it a nice even top. And what I'll do, I'll just cover that for now because I'm still waiting for the other one to come out the oven. Got another 10 minutes to go. Once that's out, I'll chuck him on, do me split across the top there and see how she goes. Alright, so hopefully you can see me. Can you just make sure that's recording? Yep. We're in business then. So hopefully you can see me. It's a little bit smoky. I've just stacked a little bit on the fire. So we'll have a look now. It's been a little bit longer, about 35 minutes. To me, I reckon that's done. What I'll do, I'll just stick the nothing sticking to it, and she's quite hot in the middle there, so I'm going to say that's done. That's what I'll do. Yes, that's right, that's in there. What I'll do, I'll take this one, I'll put him straight in. Ow. Right. Should be enough residual heat there, all going happily. I'll go over and I'll give this one a try. So this is the first damper out the oven. Now this is the one that I've milled out of the grains on farm. It is still mighty hot, but it sounds hollow. It's actually quite dense, but well, will do. I'm going to cut some off. What I'm finding already, it's as dense as a doornail. I reckon I'm going to need to put more baking powder in it, maybe a bit of bicarb as well, or I just need to mill it finer. Tastes good though. You want to try a bit, don't you? Any idea?
It tastes really good though.
Righto, so we're talking what, 25 minutes now, roughly, and my mate's back, and yeah, so I don't know if you can see it in the camera there or not. I'm just cooking off on the barbie there some veggies, a bit of capsicum, garlic, some corn, tomatoes and onion. That I use that as a bit of base for some salsa. So that's just something else I'm doing. But anyway, let's check this out. A big reveal. Oh, look at that. Now I can already see from there how much more of this has actually risen. It's just a better looking loaf all around, to tell you the truth. I'll just do a bit of a test here. So there's plenty of heat in the middle there. There's nothing sticking to the knife. I reckon that's pretty good to go. There's a bit up there. As far as temperatures wise, that's cooked to perfection. I'll get this out. I'll try and get this out. There we go. As you can see there, look, there's me, my bit of paper. Now that was from the first one that I started cooking. So, see how it hasn't burnt at all. It's just nice and golden. So that's a good indication that the heat from underneath has been spot on. You know, if that was going to be black, well, it's obviously going to be burning underneath. So the old paper's a good trick. As I say, flour's another good one, but I don't like wasting flour. Yeah, look at that. Yep, she's hot, all right. I'm happy with that. So, bang. I'll sit him down on the ground here for now. Now I can already tell this is going to be a lot lighter. It's almost, oh, not quite double the size of this one, but it is cooked to perfection. Oh, smells amazing. Before I've even tried it, I already know which one's going to be better. It's a no-brainer. There you go. Yeah.
You're missing that flavour, just that little extra flavour.
Yeah, I do wonder whether I was to add, sort of like doing half and half mix. But
No, yeah, this is right.
oh, that there's as good a damper as you're going to get. It's got a really nice crust, and you can probably hear me crunching in the microphone. Very light and soft in the middle, and it's not to the point where it's over soft either. It's a really nice texture. That there, if you want to make yourself a good damper, that's as good as you're going to make out in the paddock. You start, you know, you can play with that as your base. You can add, you know, some sultanas or raisins to it. Bit of cheese and bacon. Some fresh herbs. Bit of rosemary. But that's the base. That's all you need. And as I say, with a bit of golden syrup, jam and cream. Yeah. But anything else now, you start making your mix with creams and soda waters and all that sort of stuff. You're starting to make a scone. And damper is not a scone. You know, damper predominantly is a soda bread. And yeah, we'll keep it that way. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Till next time, leave your comments down below. You know, click the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and stay tuned. So thanks for watching. I'll catch you later.